All right, welcome back. AJ here with ProLine, and in this video, we're going to be actually creating our quote template. We're going to start actually building it out. In the last video, we took a look at the quantity calculation editor and how to build out calculation formulas for our price list. And now we're actually going to start getting into building out the pages of our quote itself, or quote template itself that's going to be used for quotes. And so head into your company settings if you're not there already, and head to the quotes tab. And then just like the price list item that we're talking about there, for your locations, you can have a unique set of templates for each location if you need them. But as we talked about before, most companies are not going to need this. This is only if you have multiple locations and those locations are so far apart that you're working with completely different suppliers with different pricing. That's the only time that you would need that. But as long as you're from the same supplier and they're at least matching pricing, or they're multiple suppliers but they're matching pricing, then you don't need to worry about this. So you can just use company defaults. That's going to work for probably 95% of companies using ProLine. So under quote templates here, we have two options. We have add quote template and then add quote template from library. You can select add quote template from library, and you can pull in one of our pre-built templates into your ProLine account. Now, a word of warning on this is that this is also going to pull in a price list that is matching that template. And so you're going to end up, if you pull in more than one of these, you're going to end up with duplicates of different items, because each one is going to pull in its own price list essentially into your price list, A. So that's a problem. And then B, if you've already built out your price list, this is going to turn it into a mess. So this is really, the only reason we have this is if you want to see an example, or if you want something to start with at the very beginning, you can start with that. And I go over that in kind of the intro video of this series. But for most, especially if you've been following along and you built out your price list and you built out your measurement fields, and you're kind of following step by step, don't go that route. Just build it out from scratch. It's not going to be hard. So we're going to add a quote template from scratch here. We're going to call this our generic roof replacement. So this is our quote that we're building out. Where'd it go? All right, here we go. Generic roof replacement. We have a completely blank quote template here. So if we were to create a quote using this quote template right now, it would create a quote. It would just have nothing in it. It would have a single white page. And so that would be it. So now we actually need to start adding pages to this template. And the first page that we're going to add is a cover page. Now, unlike some tools, we don't require you to have a cover page. You can have one, you cannot. You don't have to use our cover page. If you want to have a completely custom cover page for your quotes, you can do that. You can design something from scratch. But we do have a pre-built cover page in here that you're welcome to use. And then you can customize things like how the logo appears, the height of the logo in pixels. You can also upload an image. So if you want to upload a default cover image, which I would recommend, otherwise it's just going to be blank. A lot of companies will, this is our demo account. A lot of companies will choose to upload like a team photo here. That's a great choice, is to put in like a team photo or something that's going to be applicable to every single homeowner in case you don't have a picture of their home to put in there. Ideally, of course, it's going to be a picture of the home for the individual quote, but this puts just a default in as a fallback in case that's not available. So we have a cover page here. We're going to add another page here for text, and we're going to make this an introduction page. Now, you don't have to build this out the way I'm building it. This is just an example. This is how I'm basically rebuilding one of our default templates in just a generic way. And so I'm just basically following that formula. But you can do this however you want. If you don't have to have an introduction, you don't have to have a cover page. You can do it. You can build this out however you want. But moving on here. So after this, we're going to jump into. We're actually going to create our option. So our first option here, we're just going to call this good shingle. And this is going to be a good, better, best quote. So this is why I'm doing good here. And we're going to, once we finish building this out completely, which includes adding all the line items, we'll duplicate this into the 2 other options. That's way easier than building each one from scratch, because good shingle is going to have a lot of the same line items as the other 2 options, as better and best. So we're going to start with just good. Then let's add some upgrades here. So we're going to add lifetime pipe boots. Lifetime pipe boots. And we'll add 6-inch gutters. Now, the difference between options and upgrades is important. So with options, the customer has to choose one option before they can sign the quote. And so with the option, it's not multiple choice. It's a radio. So they have to choose one. They can't choose more than one. So it's perfect for offering multiple options for your main service, in this case, roofing. You could do that good, better, best, and they're forced to pick one. And they can't sign the quote without picking one. Upgrades are different. They're just select however many you want. You can have as many upgrades as you want on the quote, and then the customer can select them or not select them. They can sign the quote with none selected. They can sign the quote with all of them selected. So those are your add-on things for your quote. So we have these 2, and then let's do a signature page, because we want to have signature capabilities. You can create, we call them quotes, but our quoting system is very flexible. You don't even have to use it for quoting. You can use it to send contracts. You can use it to send summaries, and all kinds of different ways that you can use this, including things or ways that don't require a signature. You don't have to include a signature page in your quote. This is a completely optional aspect of our quoting system. But in this case, we do want to collect signatures, so we're going to add the signature page. Now, for the signature page, we have some options here. And we can customize we have up to 5 custom fields that we can customize for when the customer is signing the quote. So notes and comments is the most common one, but another common one that you will probably want is going to be the color selection. And we're going to make this required, and we don't need it to be multi-line because it's not. We just need the color. So color selection, we can make that required or not. So you have the ability to make it required or multi-line. And you can add anything else here that you want as well. So if you want them to put in a claim number, or like if it's a contingency agreement, you can do contingency agreements through our quote system. And you can send the contingency agreement, and you can have a field on there for adjuster name, for the policy ID, claim ID, all of those things you can require when they're moving forward with you and signing that agreement. So lots of different ways you can use these fields. We'll just leave it at color selection and notes and comments for this quote template that we're building. So we're going to add one more page here. We're going to add a text page, terms and conditions. We're actually going to add like 3 more pages, but this is the next page we're adding. Terms and conditions, and we're going to add this. And one thing with terms and conditions, and we're going to just copy the terms and conditions out of one of these other ones. Copy this. This is just a super generic terms and conditions. But we have this initial token that you can add. And this initial token gets replaced. When the quote gets generated, it creates a field. So if the quote does get printed out, it has an initial field that the signer can actually put initial in. But if they're signing digitally, it does get automatically filled with their initials. So this is a really good thing, especially some markets, for example, Florida, it's a legal it makes your agreements much stronger if you do have initials next to everything. So this allows you can add this however many times you want. You could have an initial token after every single line in your terms and conditions or your contract or however you want it. So you have that ability to add that to require initials anywhere you need them. Let's take a look at, we have two other page types that we'll add in here. So we'll add a custom page, and we're going to say our company. And so this is a custom page, and if you ever need to reorder these, you can just drag them. We're going to put this here, and the custom pages allow you to take graphics that are designed outside of ProLine in any design tool, and you just got to make sure they match up with these dimensions. They can also be PDFs. You can pull PDFs in here as well using the custom page type. In fact, you can actually do multi-page PDFs. So some people want to, for example, attach the Eagle View report to their quote. Fantastic. You can do that through ProLine using one of our custom pages, and you can upload the Eagle View report, and it will have all the pages on the quote in this section of the quote. So we call these pages, but in reality, the actual quote it can be a lot longer than just 8 pages that are here, since each individual page can be longer. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to upload a image, which I am not a graphic designer, so do not judge me too hard. But this is a little graphic that I personally made, and outside of ProLine, and then I'm pulling it in. It's an image. So you can get very creative with these pages, and we have some really amazing ProLine partners and consultants like Chris Diorol, who is who's able to build out these beautiful custom quotes for our quoting system and load those custom pages into our quote templates. But this is an example of that functionality. Lastly, I think I've covered every other type here, is the gallery. So a really common thing would be to want to have your inspection images or something. Come and say inspection photos, or maybe inspection report. Call it inspection report. And we'll put this after our company. And you have some different options here. You can choose how many images appear per page, and you can so you have 2, 3, or 4. So 4, the images are going to be much smaller. 2, the images are going to be as large as possible. And you can upload images, and you can actually pre-upload images into these gallery pages. One of the examples would be maybe you want to upload swatches for all your colors. You can actually use a gallery page. Maybe you want to set it to 4 for that kind of use case, and you can upload all your swatches into our gallery page and have it load on every quote. Or, in this case for inspection report, you could just have it be 2 and then leave it empty. And then your rep or whoever's doing the quote, whoever does the inspection, can come into ProLine, upload those relevant images, and then send it off. So you can just leave it empty for that as well. So multiple ways to use these gallery pages, but this is one common one. And so yeah, that completes our initial build out of all of these pages. In the next video in this series, I'm actually going to be going into the option, and soon to be options, and then the upgrades, and building out those line items, and building them out to be complete options that have all the correct price items and quote line items in there. And so that will be the next video. See you then.